Welcome back to Kryptolytix, giving you a fresh take on crypto analytics. Today we're going to have a quick look at the market and go over a few other things that I'm seeing. So, let's just get straight into it, shall we? Okay, so where best to start then on the cycle chart. So long-term cycle chart, basically, that I've started the last couple of videos with. And I just wanted to go over the Bitcoin short that I mentioned in the last video where we were up at around 28,000. And I said basically that I was loading up on shorts there, and the main reasoning behind that was the breakout and retest of the 20-week moving average band. So it's 21 EMA and 20-week SMA band. And basically that short was executed right around here. So I laddered in that one from 27,300 roughly all the way up and to 28K, and both of those were filled on two of my exchanges, my decentralized exchanges, I should say. And yeah, so those are definitely printing at the moment. Now, one thing that I guess I'm noticing is also as sort of Bitcoin tracks sideways, we're kind of looking to potentially break this log regression band again. And again, this is the one that I sort of curve fit. This is actually an indicator, so I have to constantly tweak this one, and it's not as good as my other chart one. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, you can say that the BB trend trader issued a sell for either selling spot to accumulate more later, or to just short, or you can sort of take it however you wish. But we can see that at least in terms of the Bitcoin halving target was reached on the risk index, and we're basically rejected from there. So we're coming down, and in the last video I covered the VWAP bands, which I've just left here. And if we come back down to the VWAP bands, which we did in the last cycle as well, where 2018 we hung around the bottom of the bands and then accumulated around there and then shot off. And then in 2020, due to the pandemic crash, we came back down to the bands once again. So right now the bands are sitting at around 16.5, 18.3 and 19.6 respectively, roughly, and coming up every week just by a little bit, because as I mentioned in the last video, these are the smooth moving average bands. So rate of change means that they move very slowly, and this is work off the 200 period smooth moving average, which in the last end of the bear market was the first time ever that we actually moved below the 200 period smooth moving average in Bitcoin's history. So yeah, I guess that kind of puts things in perspective, that the sell-off I think was probably greater than last cycles in relation to the amount of money in crypto at the moment, in Bitcoin at the moment. So yeah, so I mean, if we just break this log regression band, which is definitely potential, and if we sort of break some of these supports, for example, down here at 19.7 or these sorts of levels, well, 19.7 actually lines up perfectly with the top of the SMA VWAP bands. So, we've got this wick here that could get filled, and you can see here using my SR zones, there's a zone right here as well. So, if we just come back down into that zone, that also marries up with this SMA VWAP bands and also the 0.618 for the entire past cycle. So yeah, I mean, there's a few levels there that could act as support. Also, we've got a red line here, which I think connects back to the last bull market top. So, turning support into resistance, turning resistance into support, then that's, another level to look at there. So just, for the time being, we're just in September, statistically a bad month. October could be as well. And yeah, so to me, this is just a really good time to be accumulating more Bitcoin, basically. And at least for me, Solana as well, especially, with altcoins starting their aggressive sell-off, then these are sort of your good times to layer in if you have high conviction. The other thing as well, obviously worth mentioning, is FTX. And I'm sure you've seen this on other channels, so I won't really go into the details, but yeah, FTX has got quite a bit of Solana that they are selling, but if you read information on it, then you'll see that they said that they would be responsible with the amount that they sell. And also the other thing as well is there's a lot that is vested until 2025. So it means they can't really sell it all at once anyway. So I think a lot of the headlines on that are pretty sensationalist. I think a lot of it will be absorbed by the market, and overall price will come down just in line with all other altcoins. So I don't think it's anything too much to worry about. But yeah, I think Bitcoin will probably either track sideways, slowly bleed down. We'll have to see where it goes. We don't really know, but something worth watching nonetheless. I'll just quickly come over to the 3D chart for Bitcoin, and we'll have a look. Also, another thing we saw last time. So we have the moving average, 20-week moving average band, as well as this line here, which is the rate of change for the 21. And it's crazy that in the last video, I literally was just like, yep, this is a good place to start opening shorts. We were right here at the time in the band and on the RMA and also on this line. And I was just basically, I wrote this ABC. I've drawn another one as well, where this is another sort of potential path, but I just basically said, you know, come up and then come back down. Now, this might not be the last time we touch the band here. You know, we might come back to this trend line here that I've drawn right there for another potential test, because we're not quite dumping out yet, so this level could still hold. But yeah, we did come up and we tested, and so that was your opportunity to get out of any underwater longs and open shorts if you so wish, and we had that, but we could get it again. So in this case, we would get another test of the band and a test of this trend line, essentially, which we only have one touch. So we've got one touch, two touch. So it's not really a significant trend line, but if it did come up and test there, then that would become a significant trend line. And eventually a break of that would be quite significant as well. So yeah, you can see here on the chart, there's this strategy, which I'll just get rid of. So we've got a few bottoming signals that are sort of printing at the moment, but you know, with the thin liquidity in the market and overall kind of bearish sentiment, not super bearish, because you could see, you know, people are still opening long trades. I actually saw yesterday on AgriTrade a very large spike in liquidations, which I'm surprised is happening now. There's a $41 million spike in liquidations on this candle. It was a 1 hour candle. This is actually a 3-day candle, but there was a 1 hour candle that had a $51 million spike in liquidations to the long side. So people are still opening long trades. So, you know, I think people are seeing some of these things, but maybe they're leveraging like a little too hard. But yeah, we're still sort of holding this green box here, a support, which is, you know, an order block, previous support and resistance. There's a number of factors that create this support here. Just having a look at the log regression band, the bottom currently is sitting at, let's just have a look, if it goes straight down from here, is around 23K. That's pretty reasonable. It does break this level here, which would then give us a break of structure. So a break of structure means that there is more chance for further downside. So, and then that means that this logarithmic regression channel would finally be broken after 3 cycles of it basically calling the bottom. So, you know, I mean, these things can happen. And then obviously the downside risk would be in some of those levels that I was looking at before with the SMA VWAP bands, or SMMA VWAP bands rather. So let's get on to a few other things, because there's not much to talk about with Bitcoin, and that's the Solana short. So I covered this one on my Twitter, and you know, I covered it a few times, and I said it's, even when it was like around here, I said it's not too late to get into this one, because we literally had this straight break of this trend line, and now we're coming back down to this support here. This is the 786 for this entire expansive move, and we've come straight into this support box essentially, which is also, you know, resistance here and support in the past. If we go back a little further, well, these are just wicks, but there's rejection here as well. So yeah, anyway, the short is, well, it's printing, it's doing pretty well. And yeah, so I sold not as much as maybe I should have, but it doesn't really matter, because I'm happy leaving a bunch in staking, because that's earning some pretty decent rewards with very little effort. Well, no effort, it's just happening. So I'm just letting that happen. And another thing I've turned on the Solana network is the Jupiter DCA, which I'll cover in a sec. Some of the funds that I sold for, because that was just all on chain, some of it is being staked to earn yield on USDC, because it's a fair bit. And so I'm earning yield on USDC, and also, yeah, I've also put just a small amount to test USDC into DCA in Bitcoin and SOL, and I'll probably do ETH as well. But yeah, so I've just turned that on today after a small test. But we said this was pretty much the time to get out of SOL or enter a short, and we had the break of the 20-week moving average band here. So break down below, we held the support there, sort of floated around with this level, so between the 618 and the 20-week moving average band essentially, until we lost the support, acted as resistance, and now basically we've come down here. And, you know, downside targets, you know, we've got this trend line here, which we broke back in July, or yeah, it was the start of July, which is connecting this here and here to this here, and we can see it sort of started acting as resistance there, and this big tail here shows it was definitely a respected level. And then we sort of blew past that and up to, I think it was like 33 on some exchanges. This is the OKX chart. So yeah, we went up to 33, which was a strong resistance. That was the 200 period smooth moving average was up there as well, which I've turned off on the chart, but also a significant level when you look back at previous price action alone. FTX, there's a SR zone there on the weekly. So yeah, we came straight into there, this massive topping tail, this big wick here, which was a signal that, yep, we're probably going to start coming down. Then we also had a top signal here, which is just part of the Kryptolytix BB trend trader. So again, like large amounts of profit should have been taken there. 618 for the last, I believe this is for the last sort of bear market cycle. So pretty significant level there. And then we've just sort of come down to begin the slow bleed down. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, FUD in the market, which, you know, if you're a contrarian is opportunity, but you know, like downside for Solana and all other altcoins, really, let's be honest. You know, we've got, if we lose this level here, we've got, you know, another significant support sitting at around, you know, $13 roughly. So we went there before, so we could create a double bottom there and then turn around. Or alternatively, we go down even further to, I think some people are saying $3. I don't know if we'd get that far, but this is another strong support. This is where we went at the bottom of 2022. So after the FTX collapse and everything like that, we went down to $8 on some exchanges, or 8.8 or something like that. So that's this band right here. So, you know, if it just depends on if we get this time-based capitulation, if we just sort of bleed down further and further and further. I mean, I'm here for it. I'm in quite a large short on Solana and sold a whole bunch. So I'm happy to buy back, but it's been a very good investment and money-making vehicle for me because it's just been this smooth price action that's worked really well with my strategy. And again, link in the description below for the Kryptolytix trading indicators. They're just the codes and you got to chuck them in yourself. You got to put them into Pinescript yourself and save them till I can get them published. But for the time being, that's just kind of the way to do it. So anyway, that's sort of, you know, how things are playing out at the moment. The short's doing well. That's sitting in drift at the moment. That is up, I believe, 128%. Okay, it was a lot higher yesterday. Anyway, it's sitting in profit at the moment. And yeah, we just keep bleeding down, I guess. So let's have a quick look at my test at the moment, and that's using the sort of DCA. I'm actually DCAing into MSOL at the moment. So I did a quick test over a course of 7 days to see how it would play out. Just doing once every day with MSOL, and that worked brilliantly. So now I've got Bitcoin in for the DCA. So I'm just DCAing 400 in here, and I've left myself $1,000 just to, you know, add more to spot bags as we go further down, which, you know, it's not a lot, but I'll get the rest of my USDC out of staking and yield generation, because it's earning about 5% at the moment, which is pretty nice. And yeah, so that's just sitting in there, and I've left myself 1,000 super liquid that I can quickly snipe any large dips that come through in the coming months. But yeah, we've got here the MSOL, which is actually holding up pretty well. MSOL, which is the Marinade staked SOL, and Bitcoin. And that's just going to happen every Tuesday, which is, I think, according to most statistics, the best day to DCA. If you're just doing a sort of basic DCA methodology weekly, Tuesday is the best day to do it, generally speaking. So yeah, the really cool thing about this is it tells you your average entry, and it tells you everything really. So this is decentralized DCA, is really, really cool. Using Jupyter Aggregator, or jup.ag, as you can see here. And you can see, you know, what the budget is, the total spend so far, which today has only been this is the first day of this. So yep, that's the first amount. This is the average currently, you can see. So for Bitcoin is 25,222. You can have a look and see the strength of MSOL as well. Check this one out. MSOL's price right now is $20. It's a rebase token essentially. So the staking yield is baked into the price, which is really, really cool. And that's just, I think, the case with like Lido staked ETH and all that sort of stuff as well, where it's a rebase token. So it's basically, you know, the yield from staking is baked into the price. So yeah, you can see this is holding up pretty well in terms of percentages. I've seen that, you know, on days where Solana's dropped a lot, this has dropped nowhere near as much, which is pretty cool. So yeah, anyway, you can see all that sort of stuff. So when it was initiated, the next order, when the date will be, you know, the current average price, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, really nice, really nice just to have this sort of go. There is a 0.1% platform fee, admittedly. So for really large amounts, that's probably going to eat a little bit of the amount. And Jupiter's so easy to use, you can probably just do this manually anyway, but it's kind of nice just to have it happen anyway, regardless. So yeah, that's just the sort of DCAs that I've got running at the moment, just as a test, because it does say beta. So I was just like, okay, well, just in case, I'll not allocate too much, but it's a nice test. And I think DCAing over September, October, this is just for 8 weeks, and then I'll work out, if I want to keep going or not. But this is just kind of nice over the next couple really bearish months, just to have this go through without having to really pay too much attention. So quite nice, to be honest, quite nice that this is just going to run through, buy Bitcoin, buy Solana. And I was going to set up an ETH one as well, because there is ETH on the Solana network. And you could probably add whatever else you want as well, because Solana has on its chain has a bunch of other tokens as well. It is worth noting, obviously, that these are bridged assets, and bridged assets are a lot riskier than the pure form. So that's one thing as well. This is portal wrapped Bitcoin, so as long as portal's okay, then this is going to be fine. But if there's any big issues with portal, then you really have to sell this immediately and then send the USDC to maybe a centralized exchange and then buy the Bitcoin back there. Because, for example, the SOBTC, which is this Solet Bitcoin, which was controlled by Alameda, one Bitcoin became worth 0.1 Bitcoin, essentially, lost 90% of its value. So when the FTX collapse happened, so just remember that if there's any issues with portal, for whatever reason, you really have to just jump into this, sell all of this immediately, and then basically, if you want to buy that Bitcoin back, go buy it back somewhere else. So that's something worth noting, obviously, as well. If you are a Solana chain user like myself, just keep in mind these are bridged assets, and bridged assets can lose their peg. So not something that I thought would be, I guess, prudent or important to mention. So there's the decentralized DCA, pretty nice. The way you set it up is just simple. You put in the amount you want to allocate. So, if you select the token first to come from. So in this case, if you were in a bull market and you wanted to DCA out because maybe you got a Pi Circle top, or you're the top of the risk index or something like this, then you just pick your coin, Solana, Bitcoin, whatever it is you got on chain. And then you basically set in how much you want to allocate to the DCA, and then you DCA out into USDC. So in this case, you'd pick whatever asset you want to sell, and then you basically put in what you want to buy. So in this case, you want to buy USDC. So this is how you DCA out, essentially, in a bull market. But we're in a accumulation phase. So accumulation phase, you buy, you do not. You can sell, obviously. If you're a trader and you want to do some swing trades, then you sell. But I think DCA is best done in these periods, because this is the accumulation phase. So yeah, anyway, you just pick your coin. So we're in accumulation phase, allocate the amount of USDC you want. Let's just say we want to buy Helium every week or Ethereum every week. And then we just punch in the amount. There's the coin, which I just selected Ethereum, but I don't know why this. There it is there, ETH. This is portal wrapped ETH, which is Wormhole, which I'm sure you've heard of before. Select how frequently you want to do it. So day, hour, week, month. So every day, every week, every hour, every month for the next X number of whatever this variable is here. And then, yeah, basically just says everything here in the summary, and then that's it. You just place the order. And a cool new little feature that Phantom has added is you can actually auto confirm. So, for something like this, I probably will just keep confirming, but it'll be nice when they add the exchanges. But you can actually click here, auto confirm, and you can, any apps that you, or dApps that you actually trust, you can tick this so that it automatically confirms. And it says until today. I don't know if you can schedule this so that it switches off at a certain point. Maybe that's something they're going to add. But yeah, you can actually tick this box, or this little switch here, so that it automatically confirms. So you never have to click confirm again if you are placing an order, which might be nice for certain things. Jupiter is added to this. I guess it's up to them to add dApps, because I tried it on Drift and Mango and it didn't allow me to do it there. I probably wouldn't do it on Mango, and maybe it is risky to do on Drift, but Drift for me, I would definitely turn it on when they give me the ability to, because there's when I'm placing limit orders and market orders and stuff, I want it to be just seamless, almost centralized exchange equivalent experience. So I'll definitely turn it on for Drift. But this is definitely one thing worth noting, is that enabling this could put your funds at risk of fraud. Only use it with dApps that you trust. So pretty cool. They've added this, but it is kind of centralized in that they pick the dApps that allow the functionality, essentially. I just thought I'd show a decentralized DCA method, and yeah, this is just kind of nice because it's just sitting on the Solana blockchain. So, and it routes through Jupiter, so it finds the cheapest route for each transaction every single week, if it's weekly, or whatever duration of time that you set. Now, I think I just wanted to quickly cover a couple of things, and that's the bots. So I have set up and shared some links. Now, if you want some of these, I will post them, and you just got to let me know in the comments below if you do. But I've got a few bots that are running that have just been really, really good. I've only allocated small amounts of capital to each one of these, and you can even see the assets under management because it's just me. This like SHIB, for example, is just $80, so it's really not a lot. But I've got a couple of links that I'm sharing out for my Pionex copy bots, so you can actually copy my bots. These are the ones that have been probably the most successful, I would say, and they're using safe settings with the pivot surge or trend reversal indicator that I'm still sort of working on. I haven't actually worked on it for a little bit because I've been focused on a few other things in life, but yeah, these are sort of running through, and these are very safe settings on high time frames, and they just basically get in for slithers of the market and get out. So yeah, so the SHIB one's doing pretty well. These are like super speculative coins using safe settings. So at the moment, the SHIB is up about 40% since I started it 30 days ago. It's pretty nice. I've also got one for Axie Infinity, which is up 195% in the last 60 days, so it's the last 2 months. That's been doing very well. And again, like if you want to copy these as well, and this is not financial advice, so you know, if you wish to join in on these, then that's completely up to you. But I will paste the links, post them in the comments if you wish. Just let me know if you want these, and I will, of course, share them. But yep, this one's been doing pretty well. The Axie, that's again like another pivot surge where that's just getting into slices of the market and then getting out. And I'll show you charts on what these look like in a minute. And the last one is for Pepe, which again, very small amount. It'd be nice if I allocated a lot more to this, but this is just a test, right? These are just a test to see how they go. And this one's up 426%, which is, you know, not a lot, but I mean, I think it's pretty good. And this is using the parabolic SAR on the 2-hour chart. So you can see here, I've got the name here of what the strategy is for each one. And this is here TB, which is tops and bottoms. But again, I've renamed this, and TR, and I'll have a lot more of these where I'm willing to share soon, because I was mainly testing some of these out on small time frames, low time frames, to see how they go. A lot of the low time frame stuff kind of got a little bit wrecked just because as the market structure changed from bullish overall to bearish, we sort of got stuck in some weird ranges that ended up wrecking some of these. And again, like that's why I only allocated a small amount to them, because I was like, let's just test these out. And you know, I'm the crash test dummy, I guess, for this channel. I'm happy to sort of throw some mud at the wall and see what sticks and share with you what sticks, so that way maybe you can sort of utilize some of these things to hopefully make some money if they work out. And so yeah, anyway, so let me know if you want these, and I will give you the links in the comments below. So yeah, anyway, just thought I'd quickly cover some of those, and there's a lot more of these where I've just kind of showing the most successful ones. And yeah, there's others that are up a small amount as well. Like I've got a Bitcoin range trader, which is doing relatively well considering. So I just wanted to quickly show like a quick range trading bot setup that I've been using. And again, this is for the KTR or Kryptolytix trend reversal. The code's in the link in the description, of course. But I just wanted to show, and this is a range trading bot, so you don't use this for when the market is trending. So for example, when you could see that, you know, Bitcoin was getting stuck in ranges is when to sort of turn this on. So you have to really, you know, turn this on and off, depending on where we are at in the cycle. But we are in sort of a phase where Bitcoin's more likely to range. So the way this bot works, and this is just back tested to July the 12th, which is when I turn this back on. So I like to sort of change the date here to when I turn it on. So I turn it on when we started sort of really tracking sideways around 30K. And the settings for this is it's very sensitive. So it gives pretty much every top and bottom alert that it can. But the way it works and the way it filters is, so there's a 5% stop loss on this one. And what it does is when Bitcoin's within the VWAP band, which is, you know, this is because this is a band, it's not just a moving average. When it's within the VWAP band, all it cares about is when it gets extended outside of the VWAP band here. When it gets extended outside the VWAP band and closes and puts in a top signal outside of it, then it triggers the short. And when it goes down below the band, which is again an extension away from the range, then it triggers a buy. So, I mean, you can see here, sort of the performance, this is the way this is, it's a 3-tiered entry system. So it pyramids in 3 times, breaks the trade up into 3 sections. And so this one's just a bit of fun, I suppose. This is not like a serious strategy, although you have to basically turn it on and off. So you have to sort of know when to turn it off and when to turn it back on. Essentially, when volatility really kicks in, you're probably smart to turn it off. I actually didn't turn it off for that big dump, so it actually stopped out one time. So that's affected the win rate, because it was a lot higher than this before, but that's okay. So, with this one's using, it's a $3,333, but you could just make that 300. You could probably allocate like 10x $100 to this, for example. And yeah, so that would be, well, I guess $97 that would be, because this is 10K is the max. This is how you basically ladder in with Pionex when you want to make a laddering strategy, is you set your initial capital as 1,000 or 100 or whatever it is you want, set USD, and then you basically put the order size in when you're actually creating the alert as 1/3 of that. And then if you want to work out what it's going to be with your 10x leverage, then you multiply that by 10. So this is how you would set it up. So every time a order comes through, it will add $333 and to max out, and that's pyramiding 3. That's your maximum number of entries. So that's how you set it up in Pionex. If you use my referral link, you could put this as 4, not 5, because you save some money on the fees with referrals with Pionex and with any other exchange, I guess, as well. And you'll find the referral in the description below, or if you want those links, they will automatically, I think, assign a referral link as well. So that's another way to do it. But yeah, you'll find my referral link for Pionex in the description below. But yeah, so the way that works out there, and we'll just go and cancel that so we get back to what it looked like before. So yeah, the way this works is once it gets extended outside of the VWAP band, then it takes an opposing trade. So, as extension above the VWAP band, in this case, it took a short, and then extension below the band, it took a long. So we'll have a look here, going back, it extended above the band here, took a short, took a long down here, below the band, and then waited for this sort of pump back up, which was, where I started entering shorts and converted a bunch of my longs to short. And we can see it sold right here at the top. And then because Bitcoin does get stuck in these ranges, right? So yeah, and then basically it dumped out, and then basically opened the long here, then opened the next long here. And because it opened here and here, the average entry was around here, right? And then it triggered a sell on the next candle. So that one was just like a very, very small win. Again, these are just tiny, tiny, tiny little wins. They're just tiny little slithers of the market working on ranges. And then it opened the first long here, and it's opened the next long here. So now the average is there. Basically, it's just like the average between these two. And again, it will pyramid a maximum of 3 entries. So right now it's underwater, but again, this is like a range trading bot. So yeah, that's just like going through. It's had 80% win rate since I turned it back on. So 21 trades, and that's just going through. Let's see, this is underwater. This is underwater, $83, and this one's on profit, $10. And yeah, you can just see some of the money it's sort of been making and losing as well. Here we go, this 165, that was a stop loss. So that set it back a fair bit. But then, we got that back here on this trade. So, and that was this long here, this one down here. So, that's the thing, like it swapped out and then it sort of reclaimed that back. So anyway, that's just like one other way you can use the KTR, is you can just basically, you can set it so it ignores everything within this band. And the way it does that is, and I've put a little tooltip in here as well, but if you can see here this bandwidth, so this is the old code, so it doesn't have the tooltip in here, but I have actually put a tooltip in here that reads that if it's a positive value, it blocks trades within the band. And if it's a negative value, it will accept trades within the band. For this chart, I like to just turn this off because I don't really need to see all this stuff, to be honest. Especially because this chart, I like to put like the liquidation levels and other things on the chart and just look at where the trades are. Because this is my sort of chart where I look to see what the open interest and all that sort of stuff. One thing I noticed yesterday, which was really quite interesting, was the open interest movements. So with this price dump, you can see this red candle. I've actually color coded these candles. So they're a stochastic heat map, the color here on the candles. But then if it's green or red here or here, or not this green, but this kind of like light green here, they're big changes in open interest. So you can see this big dump here, this candle. This actually, I think, liquidated a lot of people. A lot of people closed out of their positions. Look at the open interest here. So you got this like rise in open interest. I think these are people sort of trying to buy the dip, I guess. And this dump here, I guess, was a lot of longs getting stopped out. People bought the dip here. Look, this is green and this is green. Look at this open interest. Whatever open interest was basically wiped out here. So whatever trades is 41 million roughly in trades that were liquidated here, immediately bought back. So this dip was completely bought back. So people are still pretty bullish, to be honest, unless that's shorts opening up, because that's you can't really tell here exactly if that's shorts opening up. You'd have to look somewhere like Coinalyze, for example. So the way to decipher whether it was longs or shorts opening up, you can see that on the 5 minute, this is the 1 hour chart, the aggregated predicted funding rate actually flipped to negative. So a lot of people were opening up shorts here, right? So that's what that open interest was a big spike. People were basically layering into shorts here. And now you can see people are starting to buy the dip. You can see the predicted funding rate is actually starting to flip positive again. So there's still a lot of people entering longs in this at this price. So, hoping to probably trade the range, I suppose. But you can see a fair bit of volume here. You can see the volume profile on the side here. Fair bit of volume here taking place. And yeah, so that was people just basically like after this dump and a lot of longs, I guess, getting stopped out or closing or liquidated. Liquidated because it was 42 million again, like in liquidations. Then we had this small move back up, essentially. So people are entering longs again. You can see the funding rate has flipped back to positive. And yeah, so that's how we translate what this is. So essentially that was people flipping to shorts for the most part. And now some people are opening longs here as well. So yeah, the open interest that was built here was mostly long because you could see the funding rate was positive. And then this big dip down here was those longs getting stopped out, liquidated or closing, and then shorts piling in were these two candles here. And now we're getting this green candle here, which was longs opening up essentially. So we still have a bit of a balance in the market. But we can see in terms of what this indicator, and this is the Leviathan open interest, aggregated open interest indicator, you can see that there's pretty much equal longs and shorts or aggressive longs and shorts in the market at the moment. So mostly the most recent wrecked trades have been longs. So I guess now it's time for the shorts, I suppose, to maybe balance out to the wrecked longs. So this is probably going to go to like 300 or something like that. So maybe we get a little push back up. Who knows? Because we get these little barts up. So we probably get maybe a bart down and then back up. Who knows? We snap back into the range until proper move is decided. So yeah, either, we range here for a bit, snap back up, or we maybe continue down lower, and maybe the range trader stops out or puts in another buy, and then we go back up for a little bit and then back down. Who knows? We'll have to see. But that's basically what this range trader is. You can see another sort of use case for this trend reversal indicator. Yeah, so basically that's one way you can use it, in that it blocks out within the range. I think you can probably really use this like this for Bitcoin and Ethereum, because they are the ones that range and get stuck in these really tight ranges, whereas altcoins trend a lot more. Even in these periods where Bitcoin moves down a tiny bit, altcoins will just, put in new lows or do crazy stuff. So probably wouldn't use it for altcoins, but it's good for, I think, Bitcoin and Ethereum, which do get trapped in these really tight ranges. So yeah, anyway, that's just an analysis of the open interest. We basically kind of equal longs and shorts at the moment. Maybe it's time for now that these longs got kind of wrecked, now maybe it's time for the shorts to get wrecked. So we'll have to see how that goes. But for now, this is in a long here. I was just saying, like moments ago with the range trader, I'm like, yep, so it's open along here and open along here. And yeah, we were looking at this little thing down here, which is part of the indicator that shows aggressive longs and aggressive shorts. And that was pretty much like clockwork. We got those aggressive shorts now, and these shorts are now getting wrecked along with the longs. It's a pretty savage time to be trading Bitcoin, I think, unless you've got some sort of like little short-term strategy like this. Now, I'll just quickly show you, I guess, the settings for the SHIB that I talked about before, the SHIB trend reversal settings, pivot surge settings. Just quickly show you sort of how I've set that up and, what that looks like on the chart. So yeah, you can basically see here. So this is that bot that I showed here, like this one here. This is the performance on it. You can see how it sort of works, right? And the way it works is, I'll just bring up the settings. So if we look at the back test, right, since the start of the year and the setup. So this is basically showing the $80, and I'm using 8x leverage for this, which, is pretty extreme for a meme coin like SHIB. But anyway, these are basically the capital allocation to this. So $80, and I've factored in the leverage here, so I can sort of get an idea as to really what it's going to look like if I just logged into Pionex and had a look. But yeah, so that's the setup for it. And this is just backtesting to the start of the year. And these are the settings here. Not that it really matters, because you actually don't need to worry about this. If you copy using the link, then you don't actually need to even worry about this. But this is how it's been set up. So you can see sort of under the hood how I've sort of set this up, so you can get a better idea as to how it works, I suppose. And so yeah, basically these are the settings here. It uses the SMA 200 period on the 1 hour. And it includes, so it's a minus value, so it includes any trades within the band. So if price creeps above just a little bit and still puts in a sell signal, then it'll take it regardless. Because you get to these sort of periods where it may have taken the trade if it was just in the right place. Here's probably a perfect example. If this wasn't a band, then it wouldn't have taken this trade, for example, because it would have just ignored that because it was just below the line. Because the way this works is it's taking longs above the moving average and taking shorts below the moving average. So it trades with trend for this one, and it gets into small slithers of the market. So it'll take a long here, then close it, and then wait for the next. Take a long here, then close it, then wait for the next, take a long here, then close it. So it's just taking little scalps out of the market. And you can see it's been 81% win rate, which is pretty nice. And I guess not a lot of money I've allocated to it, $80, and it's a bot, so it just does its thing. And that's, $893 from $80 with no effort, basically. You don't need to turn this one on or off. It just works. Basically, it just runs and does its thing. But yeah, you can see sort of how it works, and you can see that it's sort of taken, if we have a quick look here, I'll just turn this on so you can see the signals. You can see there's a whole bunch of signals, and the way the settings work is, so it's using the moving average filter. So it's taking shorts below and longs above. It's using the SMA. So I've got a bunch of other moving averages in here as well. But in this case, in the last one we saw, it was using the VWAP, volume weighted average price. In this one's using the simple moving average just on close. So you can actually set to high, low, or close, or open, which affects the results as well. And it's using the 200 period. And again, you can move that around to whatever. And it's including within a 0.4% above or below. So it's basis. This is on basis points, essentially. So this is 40 basis points above and 40 basis points below the band, essentially. And this one is trading with trend. So I've got this turned off, and it closes at the next signal. So regardless, you'll see here. So this closes the trade at the next signal when moving average filter is turned on. So it's designed to scalp rather than swing. Because you could just turn this off, see what the results are. And it might actually be better. But yeah, so 40%, 47% win rate. It's nowhere near as good as if you just take these little scalps out of the market. So you can see if it's just held on to trades, it's done a lot better just by taking little slices out of price rather than just holding on the whole time and, hoping for the best, essentially. So you can see the way it works here. There was a top signal there. And then, it wasn't exactly the top, but, it's kind of doesn't really matter because we are in a downwards trend. So in this case, it's just expecting price to eventually bleed down. And then at the next signal, regardless of where it is in relation to the moving average, it will just close it there anyway. So then it was waiting for the next top signal, which was here, as you can see, and then closed. I think it had a small loss there, actually, in this case, but then went shorted there, closed there, short there, closed there. So now it's just waiting for the next signal, essentially. And yeah, so, after this kind of bleed, there's a chance the next one will probably be a loss. One thing about this indicator, this KTR, or pivot search, or whatever again, is it's not good to have this on after like a big move, to be honest. After a really big move, it's good to sort of turn this off and pause this, to be honest. But this is sort of the thing where I've kind of left SHIB because it hasn't been too bad, just leaving it on and just sort of setting and forgetting. Same with Axie, same with Pepe. It's just been like, these ones have been all right, but some other tokens, it's really, if there's been a big dump, for example, then you basically have to turn it off for a while and wait for the next couple winning trades to turn it back on, especially on the lower time frames. But these higher time frame ones seem to be a lot better. So I've got a whole bunch that are on the 4 hour now, a bunch that are on the 1 hour, and even the 1 hour, I would say if there's been a huge dump, it's worth turning off. This wasn't a huge dump to me. This was just kind of like, this was actually probably quite a lot, actually. Yeah, 60% move. So yeah, this was actually quite a lot. But some of the other ones, like I've got one for Alpha, for example, that had this massive parabolic move up for whatever reason, Perp as well. That massive parabolic move up, that was just, didn't really make any sense for where price was. So in those cases, I would just turn it off and wait for price to reset back to what its kind of fair value is before turning it back on, because you're going to get these weird bleeds, and maybe a bottom signal will come in and then it will just keep bleeding down. Because if it's just like a nonsense rally, then there's a good chance that the next bottom signal won't be the bottom at all, and it'll just, you'll just lose the next couple of trades. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of how this works regardless. And we'll just turn this off so I can just see the trades on the chart. You don't need the actual signals, because we can see exactly when the trades have taken place. And yeah, so I've actually left the comments in here as well, which is making it messy. This is for the WunderTrading bot platform. These are the comments, but we're using Pionex for this, so we don't need that. So yeah, you can see kind of how it works. It's just kind of really nice. That was for the SHIB. Let's have a look at AXI. So this one's a lot riskier. You can see like the almost 70% win rate on this one. Much higher risk on this. So I guess you probably allocate capital accordingly. You can see the way this has worked is it was sort of taking these longs on the 15-minute on Saturday. So it longed here, closed the trade there, long there, closed the trade there, shorted there, closed there. Again, this is a 15-minute chart, so this is happening all the time. This puts trades in very frequently. It's a shame there weren't any top signals here, but it's just when you get these slow bleeds, you don't really get top signals. This uses the cumulative volume index to calculate shifts in, or pivots in the market, essentially, in price action. So when you get these slow bleeds down, you don't get any top signals. It's only when you get like nice price where there's big differentiation between volume that you get the tops and bottom signals. So this hasn't actually opened any trades since Saturday, and we're on Tuesday now, so I mean that's only a few days ago. But yeah, you can see kind of like how it works. There's the line on the chart there is the stop loss, so if price comes down to there, then it'll cut the trade essentially. And yeah, so that's the AXI. And again, these are the settings for the AXI. Again, don't even need to worry about this, because if you copy using the link that I provided, well, you actually don't even need this, because I've got the Pro top tier Tradingview, the most expensive Tradingview. So it means that signal priority, and in terms of backtesting, I can backtest on the 15-minute chart for a long period of time back to test and all that sort of stuff. So if you don't have Pro Tradingview or anything like that, then this is kind of one way to get involved without actually taking the dive on that. So yeah, so this is the capital settings. I've got here 62. This is using, I think, 7x. So 62 gets to a $500 position size. Again, very small. This is just like, again, like this is just testing really for the most part, but this has been very successful. So I figure it's worth sharing, I suppose. And this is back testing to the start of the year again. And yeah, so it's a 6% stop loss. It's using the SMA 500 period on the 15-minute, and it's allowing trades. Again, negative value includes things within the band. It's allowing trades to take place within the band, essentially. And yeah, so I mean, I'm sure I could probably refine these settings going forward, and as I do refine the settings, if I find better settings, then I will update them, and that will just be updated into the signal. And then then whatever is being copied will just be whatever the new refined better settings are, essentially. So that's the thing, like I'll constantly be checking these, refining these settings, turning the signals off if I need to, and then yeah, it just means that anyone that's copying the link, I suppose, will get that without having to do all of that. So I guess it's just me putting the work in, and anyone who's copying to, I guess, reap the reward potentially. But again, this is not financial advice, and these can get stuck in bad positions. So that's one thing that's worth noting as well. Like, for example, it might take a long here for whatever reason and then just get stuck, which can happen. And then, wait for the stop loss and it might stop out, or it just holds on and then comes back and then puts in a top signal. This all happens a lot with this as well, with this strategy, is that it might take a bad trade, price will go down, and then it'll be underwater and then come back up. Obviously it's not happening right now, and then come back up and then only realize a very small amount of loss. It happens a lot with this strategy, and I can't see any on the chart where it's done that. Happens more so with the swings, where it just goes and swings from one side to the other. It doesn't happen so much with these trades where it just gets in a small amount and then gets out. But there'll be an example somewhere with AXI where it's been in an underwater trade and it's come back to sort of break even. But I think I have to probably go back pretty far to find one of those. So I think if I have a look here at the list of trades, I'll be able to see if I see a big drawdown. That's probably an example of one. Here we go. So yeah, you can see here on the 30th, there was an example. So we're just going to click on this, and that should take me on the chart to where that was. Yeah, here, this long, right? Yeah, I guess it was this one here. So you can see here where it took a long here, and it drew down all the way down here, and then it came back. If only it put a top signal in there, that would be nice, but it did not. Came back down, spiked back up, and then closed here. So, well, it didn't close, actually flipped a short there, and then took this short, profit, took this short, profit, and then took this short, small loss, waited, long to profit, long to profit, long to... So here's an example. Yeah, oh, well, this one just kept bleeding. So took this long, and then just, price bled down, and finally put a top here, thankfully. And then it was able to capture this move here. So captured this big dump here, essentially, 5%, and the loss on the long, where it got stuck in the wrong side of the position, was 4%. So it bled down 4%, then captured that 4% back. So there you go. That's sort of an example. A couple of examples here where it can get stuck in bad trades. But yeah, I see often what happens is, it'll take a long, then will bleed down. And you see often what will happen is it'll come back up, put a top signal in at a small loss, and then bleed back down. But yeah, as you can see in these examples, that sort of where it can get stuck. Again, it did it here, where it... Yeah, this is a good example actually where it did it. So took a short here, we went up, quite underwater. I think at its max it was about 3%, 3.5%, and then came back down and only realized 0.73%. That's exactly what I was trying to find. So that's an example of kind of what it does. And, when it gets stuck in the wrong side, what sort of can happen after that. So yeah, that's been it for, I guess, Axie. You can see there's definitely losing trades. It's on the 15 minutes, so of course it's going to be a lot more losing trades. The lower time frame you go, the more reckless it gets. The higher time frame it gets, the safer it gets. So I find with the high time frame, like the 4 hour, I can have the tight stop loss. I can have a stop loss at say 3%. I'll show you my Solana one. So Solana one it's been a while since it's opened a trade. Now they're chasing taking any trades for quite a while. But you can see here on the Solana, this is using the 4 hour chart. It's an 87% win rate, which is really nice. This one to me, I'm using 10x, so I've allocated $100 to it, and it's 10x, and it's a really tight stop loss on this one. So I think the stop loss on this is 3% stop. Yeah, no, 6% actually. There's a few others I've got where I've got a really tight stop loss on this. This is using the weighted moving average. You can see the settings here. I won't share the link to this just yet, but you can actually even have a look at the settings here if you want to set it up. But yeah, so this is very quick. So this is very sensitive. It will pick tops and bottoms in a very sensitive manner. And it uses the weighted moving average, and basically so it will take shorts below and longs above, and it blocks out trades within a 1% range. So 1% above and 1% below, so 2% range, I should say. It will block out any trades within the band. So if it's in a period where price doesn't know where it's going or what it's doing, it will just block out anything as it's coming to the moving average, because often with the moving average, you'll get this sort of fight to stay above or stay below. The bears will try to push below a moving average, a significant moving average. Although the 80 weighted moving average is not some significant moving average, to be honest. But it just means that if it's above here and it puts in a bottom signal here, right, which, it didn't, but if it did, then actually we'll have a look here. Let's have a look, and we'll put the tops and bottoms on the chart. Then it would basically say there was a bottom signal here for whatever reason. It will block it out because you've got that 2% band where it just blocks out anything that takes place within that band, essentially, and which is kind of important with some of these so that it doesn't take false signals. But if it allowed trades within that band, then it would take that top signal there, for example. But it would probably take a lot more fake moves. So if we actually go here, have a look at the results. We'll put this as minus so that you can see kind of how this works. Now that it's minus, it's actually taking trades within the band as well. So actually not too bad, 82% win rate, 393% since, again, this is just since July. So that's actually not terrible. I expected this to be a lot worse. But you can see by blocking trades out, you've got a higher win rate, and again, this is 10x leverage, so I really want to be safe with this because 10x is a lot. So by blocking trades out, you've made more money. It's taken fewer trades, you could see, because before it took 23 trades, but then it's lost a lot more, and as a result hasn't made anywhere near as much. So yeah, this is blocking out trades within the band and closing at the next signal. So yeah, you can see this is using the weighted moving average. You can adjust this as well. If you're doing some back testing, you can see if putting the moving average as high is better, low, or close. Close is definitely best in this case. So yeah, that's the settings for that. Again, I've put this as 100 I've allocated to this, and order size is 1,000. So it's opening $1,000 position sizes. And yeah, like because the percentage win rate is so high, I could justify a 10x on that one and just put a tight stop loss. 6% is not that tight, to be honest. I've got a few others that I could show, which I won't in this video because it'll just drag things out. But you'll see, you know, I've got some that have like a 3% stop loss, for example. And, you know, that's just kind of nice for just that protection. If I did 3% here, then it's just like the win rate's gone down a lot. You can see as I move this, as I change this value, your stats down here are changing accordingly. So if I go up 7%, yeah, well, it hasn't actually hit 7 either. So 6 is like about as tight as it gets before it's hit any stop losses. But again, it's a saving grace, right? Which is definitely what you need to do with some of this stuff. There's a Filecoin open interest bot that just triggered a long. So there you go. There's a Filecoin long in now in my Pionex. Yeah, so anyway, that's just because Solana's just kind of bled out. We haven't really had any chances for any trades, I suppose, but maybe it'll take the next one at the next sort of major rejection. Maybe we come back up here to this section, and then maybe if we do reject from there and put in a top signal, then it'll take another trade. So yeah, anyway, that's just an example of like kind of how this indicator works, or this strategy, I should say. And yeah, I can go into more detail when it's a pivot surge. Pivot surge should hopefully integrate open interest, but I'm having a lot of issues actually getting that working with the stop loss. So maybe I'll just leave it as a separate indicator and just, you know, this will be the final version. But yeah, anyway, regardless, that's kind of under the hood how this SHIB thing, for example, and the AXI is working. So that's under the hood how this is working. And for me, I allocate more capital and more risk, I suppose, to the higher win rate strategies versus anything that's like below 80. I will not do 10x for, that's for sure. There's no way. So you just allocate capital according to the performance and sort of win rate. You can see we're getting a little spike back up here. The longs sort of entering back into the market, as I mentioned before. So yeah, anyway, just thought I would cover this in this video, as well as, you know, that sort of brief market update, sort of how the Bitcoin shorts are going, how the Solana shorts going, and, you know, all the other shorts, you know, for Aave and for ADA, AVAX, they're all also doing very well that I've covered in the last videos. I just realized that my face was covering the profit for some of these. But anyway, not that it really matters. Anyway, I'll do a proper video on this, but I just thought I'd show a couple of others before I go using this strategy, using this this bot. It's just, again, this is just an automatic trading bot. Or there's some of these aren't on Pionex, like I don't think ICP is on there, but it's an example of ICP, for example. This is a 93% win rate over the course of the last year. And you can see some of the trades it's taken, and here are the settings. Again, so I'll just basically show you here. This one's got a uses average true range as a stop loss. So here are the settings here. So this one, again, minus value, it actually takes trades within the band. And yeah, so this is another one where it sort of takes a signal and then exits at the next. So yeah, it took this short, yeah, it took a long here, so on and so forth. So that's for ICP. And we got this THETA strategy here, and this one actually is laddered. So this one actually enters multiple times. So this one's only a 84% win rate compared to, you know, 93, which is really nice. But yeah, this one has been working pretty well. You can see sort of this one doesn't have a band. So this one just kind of ignores anything above at all, regardless of where it is, the moving average. So yeah, you can see it took a couple of shorts here and then it closed them over here, which is kind of not quite nice. And this is $1,000 position sizes. So it opens, I think, max 3 positions. I'm going to quick look at the settings. So this is using the EMA, and it's weighting the moving average to low. So the source is low, because as I said, you can change this as well. Use the estimated moving average, again, closing next signal, 7% stop loss. And again, this is backtesting. All these are backtesting at the start of the year. The good thing I like about this as well is that, you know, with this, if you follow these strategies, then you don't really have to journal your trades, because you can literally see exactly the journals here. The backtest is the journal, right? So yeah, this is just like cuts out a lot of like the journaling process for trading, because you really should be journaling your trades. And this is journaling the trades for you, right? So that's kind of one of the added benefits as well. So yeah, $1,000 position size, 2 times max, and this one using OKX. I can tell because of the commission percentage. And yeah, also I just know, of course. But yeah, so that's for THETA. I don't know if THETA's on Pionex. It'd be pretty cool if it is. If it is, I'll probably end up migrating this to Pionex, because I just find it a lot easier than using WunderTrading. And I'll just quickly show a couple more. So we've got one here for the graph, which is on the 1 hour chart. And this one's been 80% profitable, which is quite nice. So I did have a graph one that was on 15-minute, and it did really well throughout the course of the year. and then it just malfunctioned. And that's one of the reasons why I'm constantly checking these and modifying them. So this is actually a modified version of that. Now I just want to reduce a lot of the risk and just sort of play it safer for the most part. But here's just an example of like a 1 hour chart for the graph, and you can see this one's been 80% profitable, so 80% win rate, and this is the tear down for it settings. So those are the settings there. Again, like, as you can see before, it's using the 300 period simple moving average, and it's taking trades within the band. So it's accepting any trades within that, I guess you'd say that 1% price range, and again, closing at the next signal. So yeah, that's basically the settings there, and you can see it's been pretty good. So took that short, closed there, took this short, was underwater for a bit, and then closed there at a small profit. And took this short here, again, all the way here, and we're getting a little uptick actually in price right now. And here's one for OMG. Actually, this one actually is stop. I think a stop hit, maybe. Yeah, it did. So this one actually had a stop hit recently, and these are the settings for this one. Use the average true range, and yeah, again, like, you don't have to follow these per se, but I'm just actually showing you sort of how some of these are set up, so you can get an idea as to sort of how they might work for something that maybe you want to backtest. But yeah, this one here's not nowhere near as high win rate, but yeah, it's still pretty good return. So yeah, took this short, stopped out, and then sort of took the short again, and then closed in a profit, took the short, closed in a profit, and then we're getting a little uptick here. So this short's not in anymore, so that's fine. Yeah, so I mean, OMG's been all right, but it does stop out a lot more frequently than some of the other ones. I really like the ones that don't really stop out that often, and they're the ones that don't stop out as often are the higher time frame. I think you'll find a lot of them. But yeah, OMG's been pretty good. I've definitely taken every single on the OMG one so far. Omnisi Go, I believe, is what OMG is. It's an old cycle coin. This one's one of the dinosaurs of past cycles, still around somehow and still being traded, and has some pretty decent sort of price action that works very well with something like this. So yeah, just kind of another example, I suppose. And I've got heaps. I've got so many of these that I've backtested on many different time frames, many different tickers. So, I'll probably go through them at some stage, all of the ones that have been successful. Again, so, you don't have to follow these, but it's just so you can get an idea as to how this strategy works, and yeah, how it makes money, how it loses money, and, the win rates, all that sort of stuff. So anyway, I think that's probably enough for this video. So I'll just wrap it up there. But yeah, in terms of, Bitcoin at the moment, risk mainly looks like it's, to the downside for the most part. Yeah, Bitcoin really is just range bound. I mean, so at the start of this video, we had this, where Bitcoin was down here below 25K, and it's just snapped back into 25K again. It's gone up, within just the course of a very short period of time. Almost $1,000. So, it just kind of goes to show. We got on the 3-day chart, the stocks at the bottom, stochastic is at the bottom here. If we did the same thing as we did last time, then this was the second stock print, stochastic print, which actually only closes, this candle, 3-day candle will close in 20 hours. But yeah, we had 2 of those, and then we went up. Will we get that again? I'm not so sure that will happen, but yeah, we're definitely in this range where we get this big wick up, come back into this tight range, wick up, back into the tight range, wick down, back into the tight range. It's just this rinse and repeat. We do have a TDSS9 print buy signal here, which, and then we also had a 3-day buy signal as well for the trend reversal, but, I wouldn't really take that per se. But it just kind of shows that we are just kind of stuck in a very tight range. We're getting these sort of liquidation hunts down, liquidation hunts up, until maybe we come back to this sort of trend line. Maybe we just track sideways until October. Who knows what we're going to do? Usually September's down, but maybe we just track sideways and we get this sort of time-based capitulation. Then maybe we take the next step down, potentially down to maybe 24K or something like that. So, we'll have to see what happens, but, it's pretty boring, I think, for the most part, the market, and people are still getting wiped out. Like, it's this huge liquidation still happening. So it's just like, just goes to show that I guess people still around, but it's definitely a lot less liquid than it was, say, like a couple of months ago. I think a lot of people have just kind of given up at this stage. So yeah, anyway, Bitcoin's not really doing much, but altcoins still are doing stuff. They're still going on runs. There's still, there's still sort of money to be made in altcoins, or some money to be lost in altcoins as well. So while Bitcoin might be going sideways, we are still getting these little pumps. Like I saw Perp go up 100% or something crazy like that. And yeah, so that stuff's still happening. I think that was over here. So Bitcoin did nothing, right, on this candle, but Perp went up 100%. As an example. So, that just goes to show some altcoins, if you know how to trade them and you've got a strategy that works, altcoins are still money-making machines, but Bitcoin is just stuck, not really doing anything for now. So, have to see how everything plays out. But anyway, hope you liked the video. If you did, then please give the video a like or dislike if you didn't, and hit subscribe and that bell notification if you want notifications on when videos come out from me. I will do a video in the future showing pretty much every single KTR that I've found, every pivot surge or trend reversal. I should just stick to one name really, but I don't know. I'm like between names at the moment until I solidify the code for that strategy. But I'll show you all of the sort of tokens that I've found that at least work with higher probability of success, because you can get some that still make money but have like a 50% win rate. And to be honest, that's super risky. I don't think at a time like this, we probably should be taking too much risk. Probably can if you want to, but for me, I'm a bit more like wealth preservation first and alpha second. So I'm more inclined to pick higher win rate strategies that are like 90 or 80% or something like this. But you can go down on further out on the risk curve to like your 70 percentile and, you know, still make money that way. But yeah, I'm a bit more risk averse. So anyway, that's it for the video. Links to Pionex and everything else in the description below. If you want to support the channel, that would be greatly appreciated. And let me know again in the comments if you want the links to some of those Pionex bots, if you wish to participate in some of these work before maybe taking the dive on some more if you want. Up to you. There is a minimum allocation of $50 for the trading bot for Pionex. So that's just like one thing to factor in. So you need at least 50 USD in order to use those. But yeah, you'll find the link at least to Pionex in the description below for my referral, or if you want those bot links, let me know and I will post those in the comments. So keep safe out there. This is Kryptolytix signing out. Have a good one.